Breaking news! The Miami Dolphins may be about to make a move that could completely divide the fan base, and I'm here to tell you everything I know. Tensions are rising behind the scenes, and some within the organization believe a certain controversial decision could stabilize the roster. We're talking about a potential roster move that could take valuable opportunities away from our young, hungry players fighting for their NFL dreams in training camp. If this happens, it could seriously impact the Dolphins' chances of developing the depth necessary for a true Super Bowl run. But before we get into the details, be sure to like this if you're a true Dolphins fan who bleeds water and orange. And if you've been with this team for over 20 years, I want to hear you comment right now. Go, Dolphins! My heart bleeds water and orange. Okay, let's get right to it, because what I'm about to say could change the way we view this wide receiver battle in training camp. Now let's get straight into this. There's talk about a possible reunion with a former Dolphins wide receiver, Robbie Chosen. Yes, you heard that right. Robbie Chosen, who had that memorable 68-yard touchdown in the historic 70-point blowout against the Broncos, might be coming back. He recently admitted that he's been in communication with the Dolphins, saying they have a good relationship and know what he's capable of. He's keeping himself in top shape, claiming to be ready for the best season of his career. But here's the big question. Do we even need him? And is this another sign of Greer's poor decision-making if it happens? Because let's be honest, this team already has one of the strongest wide receiver rooms in the NFL. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are a dominant duo when healthy. Nick Westbrook-Ikine was a solid addition. And we've got exciting young talent like Malik Washington, Taj Washington, and Andrew Armstrong fighting for spots. Think about this. Miami had one of the oldest rosters in the NFL in 2024, and now they've finally shifted to being the 7th youngest. That's the direction we need to keep moving in. Adding a 32-year-old receiver who's clearly on the tail end of his career makes no sense, especially when there are younger, hungry players ready to prove themselves. Taj Washington, for example, has real upside. He was drafted in the 7th round last year but missed the entire season due to injury. Before that, he was Caleb Williams' top target at USC, with 59 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Then there's Andrew Armstrong, a 6 feet 4 inches speedster who led the SEC in receiving yards. And let's not forget Theo Wease Jr., who's been turning heads in OTAs and minicamp. These are the players that should be getting those crucial training camp reps, not a veteran who's already had multiple chances to prove himself. The wide receiver 5 spot is going to be one of the most exciting battles to watch in training camp, with Armstrong, Wease, A.J. Henning, and Taj Washington all competing. Signing Robbie Chosen would take valuable opportunities away from these young guys who might just turn into hidden gems. We need development, not desperation signings. So, Dolphins fans, I need to hear from you on this. Do you want Robbie Chosen back on this roster, or should we let the young guys shine? Should Chris Grier even be considering this move, or is this just another example of why he shouldn't still have a job? And here's where things get even more intriguing. When you look at how Mike McDaniel has built his rosters since arriving in Miami, the trend has been very clear. He usually keeps 5 wide receivers on the final 53-man roster. 4 of those spots are locked in with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington, and Nick Westbrook-Ikine. That leaves just 1 spot open, and realistically, it's going to come down to either a veteran who knows the system or one of these young breakout candidates fighting for their NFL dreams. If we follow McDaniel's usual logic, he might lean toward a veteran presence, someone who already understands the offense and can contribute on special teams if needed. That's where Robbie Chosen would fit if they do decide to bring him back. But here's the problem. Every snap given to him in training camp is a snap stolen from players like Taj Washington, Andrew Armstrong, or Theo Wease Jr., who all have tremendous upside and could be long-term contributors. This team isn't in a one-game, win-or-go-home situation right now. They are building depth for a Super Bowl run, and to do that, they need to find hidden gems, not rely on older players who have already shown their ceiling. And speaking of these younger players, let's talk more about what's at stake for them. Taj Washington, who missed all of last season after being placed on IR in July, is an explosive playmaker. At USC, he showed great chemistry with Caleb Williams, making big plays in traffic and proving he could be a reliable deep threat despite his smaller size. Andrew Armstrong is another guy who just screams potential, 6 feet 4 inches, blazing speed for his size, and the kind of athleticism that could create real matchup problems in this offense. Theo Wease Jr. has been one of the most talked about players by Dolphins beat reporters this offseason, impressing coaches with his route running and toughness in mandatory minicamp. And A.J. Henning, who's been praised for his ability to make contested catches, is quietly building momentum. These are the types of players that can grow into valuable contributors if given enough opportunities to develop. But if the Dolphins bring in Robbie Chosen, even if it's just for training camp, that's fewer reps for these younger guys, fewer chances for them to show what they can do in preseason games, and potentially fewer opportunities to earn that final roster spot or a practice squad position. The question is, are we willing to risk losing a future impact player just to give Robbie Chosen one more shot? The battle for the WR5 spot is shaping up to be one of the most exciting storylines of training camp. We know Tyreek and Waddle will dominate, but depth wins championships, and Miami needs to know which of these young guys can be trusted if injuries hit late in the season. This is why, personally, I believe McDaniel should let this competition play out naturally. Let the younger, hungrier players fight it out, because you never know when you might find that unexpected breakout star who makes a difference in the playoffs. And let's take this a step further, because this WR5 battle is not just about filling a roster spot. It could have real implications for how explosive this Dolphins offense can be late in the season. Think about last year. Injuries hit Jalen Waddle, and suddenly Miami's depth was tested. Wouldn't you rather find out now which of these young wide receivers can handle pressure rather than waiting until week 12 to realize you don't have a reliable backup? That's why every single rep in training camp and preseason is so crucial. If you look closely at the type of players Mike McDaniel likes, it's guys who can separate quickly, create yards after the catch, and thrive in motion-heavy schemes. Taj Washington fits that perfectly. He has that quick burst, great body control, and experience working in a high-powered college offense. Andrew Armstrong, on the other hand, gives Miami something different, a big-bodied target who can win jump balls and be a red zone threat, something this offense has lacked outside of Tyreek's pure speed. Theo Wease Jr. is that reliable possession receiver who can move the chains, and A.J. Henning brings versatility, someone who could also help in special teams, which is another factor that could determine who wins that final spot. Now, here's where things get tricky. Mike McDaniel might value special teams contribution heavily when deciding the WR5, and that could push a veteran ahead of the young guys if none of them stand out in that role. Robbie Chosen, for all his experience, doesn't bring much to special teams. That's another reason why keeping him makes little sense. This WR5 needs to be someone who can contribute beyond just catching passes. If one of these young receivers proves they can make plays on special teams, it could lock up their roster spot before preseason even ends. And let's not ignore this, keeping Robbie Chosen would be yet another questionable move by Chris Grier. Fans are already tired of his inconsistent decision-making, and signing an aging veteran instead of developing young talent would only add fuel to the fire. This is supposed to be a team building towards sustainable success, not chasing short-term comfort. The Dolphins finally have a younger roster, and that's the direction they should keep going in if they truly want to compete with teams like the Chiefs and 49ers for years to come. So, Dolphins fans, here's what I want to know from you as we wrap this up. Which young wide receiver do you believe has the best chance to earn that WR5 spot and actually contribute during the regular season? Do you trust Mike McDaniel to make the right call, or do you think Chris Grier will once again get in the way with a questionable roster move? Let me know in the comments right now. And if you want more in-depth breakdowns like this, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around because I've got another video on screen right now that you do not want to miss. Go Dolphins! We can get to the Super Bowl, but only if the right players get their chance to shine.